Hey everybody, so today I actually wanted to cover a video called The 5 Traits of a Successful Line Cook. This video was put out by a new channel called Kitchen Conquest. They cover a lot of the same topics that I do, except they're much more professional and there's a lot less cussing. So if I'm not really your cup of tea, I would suggest go and check them out. I'm going to leave a link to their channel down in the description as well as this video so you can watch the full thing. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and check out this video. All right, here we go.
Just had a conversation with someone and we were debating the top trait to be successful in the kitchen. I'm going to give you my top 5 and let me know if you agree with it or not, but let's get into it.
Oh, I'll let you know if I agree with it or not.
My first trait is integrity. Recently, I just posted a video about integrity. It was actually my first video that I ever filmed. That's why I look a little bit uncomfortable and nervous. In the kitchen, there's so many opportunities for you to take shortcuts and to do the wrong thing. By taking a shortcut on something, you could be doing something that could make someone sick, and that's just not fair. So integrity is probably my #1 character trait.
I believe integrity is one of the highest and best qualities that you need as a line cook. One of the main reasons for this is you need to be able to hold things down when no one's looking. I've always said that the true measure of a person is who they are when no one's looking. Having integrity on the line will actually be the #1 trait that will get you further in the industry.
I'll tell you this too. I've been in manager meetings when we've been discussing who our next supervisor is going to be or who our next manager in training is going to be. It's never going to be the person that's the fastest or that cooks the best food. It's going to be the person that we trust to do the right thing when we're not there.
In this industry, cooking is only one part of this. A lot of people think cooking is the hardest part. It's like the first part. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that comes with this. Are you following date procedures? Are you taking steps to manage waste? You know, are you able to show real leadership on the line? You know, like there's a saying that anybody can steer a ship in calm waters. You could have a kid go up and grab the wheel of a ship and they could steer the ship in calm waters by having simple directions. It's what you do when there's a storm and when shit hits the fan that tells you who's going to be able to step up and be that leader when we aren't around.
#2, sense of urgency. Cooks that out-hustle and outwork other cooks shine through, in my opinion. I can train someone with a good work ethic. If you have the other 4 traits I'm mentioning in this video plus a sense of urgency, you're going to go so far and you're going to get a good payday.
Well, I do agree that this is a trait. I feel like it says successful line cook, so I'll give him that. Sense of urgency should be the standard. If you are on the line, you have to feel a sense of urgency to get that food out. I believe firmly that anybody can cook. And usually I'll get asked about how I feel like someone is doing on the line. I withhold all of any kind of evaluation or any kind of judgment I have about who they are until after at least 2 weeks, sometimes 2 months. Because one of the things that I've learned is there are some people that they pick up on a lot. They exceed my expectations for the first 2 weeks, but then at some point they fall off a cliff and they don't progress any further. So where they are in 2 months is the same place they were at 2 weeks. And it feels like you're reteaching them the menu over and over again. And they just don't care. They don't have that sense of urgency. They don't have any respect for the line or the ingredients. That to me is a really good indicator of what kind of cook they're going to be.
Hustle. Make it your goal in life to outwork everybody around you. #3, grit. Grit is defined as courage of resolve and strength of character. So having the ability to look at adversity in its face and to not give up and to keep pushing through even though there's so many different problems and struggles and stresses that you face every single day, that's a very, very important trait.
I only really I kind of call it something else. Grit's a really good word for it, courage, perseverance. But what I call it is performing in the clutch. When you're a quarterback, you're in the clutch. You got a bunch of people in front of you that they're the only thing standing between you and getting pooped on. You get the ball, you have to be able to be calm. When I say slow is fast, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You have to be calm and centered. You have to look and pay attention to who's on the field, who's open. You have to make calculations. You have to go through a lot of processes that are extremely important in your head. That if you crack under pressure, if you can't handle a pressure situation like that, you're going to get sacked. You're going to drop the ball. You're going to make wild passes. You're going to have to throw the ball away. Like there's so many bad things that could happen from you not being able to pay attention to that and not keep a clear head. Doesn't matter how good you are in practice, it's how good you are on game day, right? And that's what he's talking about when he says grit, is the ability to not just survive, but even thrive under pressure. So that's a good one. I really like that one.
Work in a kitchen, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. It is very, very challenging, and it's very, very stressful. You're pumping food out, and you're expected to get everything done in a short amount of time. Everybody's nagging at you. You have so much pressure, and the kitchen's so hot, and it's just such a difficult environment.
Right. People underestimate, if you're new to cooking or you haven't been doing it that long, people underestimate exactly how difficult it is. And I get a lot of new cooks that they'll come through and I'll start training them, and they're kind of like that I know, and they seem to know everything. I'm like, okay, show me. And then they can't perform. They think it's a lot easier than it actually is. They don't understand that like one thing by itself isn't so bad, but when you have stacked on it, stressed out servers, an angry, upset expo, cooks that are messing the food up, and you're the wheel guy trying to run all that shit, it's exhausting. If you don't run the kitchen's going to run you. Guaranteed every time.
It's tremendous, and that ability to overcome the stresses in the kitchen makes the rest of your life easy. So grit is going to be my third trait. Number 4, positivity. So number 4 is going to be positivity. You have to stay positive all the time. Positivity is so important. You have to be able to win people over, and you can't do it with a negative attitude.
This is going to be kind of a controversial thing. I both agree and disagree. I 100% agree that a sign of a good cook will be if they're positive and they're able to keep a positive attitude. But I also know that there are plenty of successful cooks and chefs out there that kind of don't show that much positivity, and they're kind of a-holes, I wish that wasn't the case. I wish that if you were a negative person, that you would have to learn how to become a positive person in order to progress in this career. I don't think it's a necessary trait, but I think that I wouldn't want cooks working for me that weren't able to have a positive attitude and outlook. And we all have bad nights. We all have that one night where we just feel defeated. I thought I was a good cook, but I mean, these ticket times were just terrible, and I burnt so much food. I fucked up so bad. We've all had nights like that. Experienced cooks especially have had nights like that, guaranteed. But I will say that having that positive attitude and the positive outlook, even if you aren't the one that's experiencing that downtime, that negative emotion, if you're the positive person, it will lift the spirits of everybody else up, and it's also a good quality for a leader. If I'm looking for a leader, I will be looking for a positive attitude.
Today, we remain professional. The second that people don't want to work with you, your career is going to take a turn. You don't want that to happen. You have to remain positive all the time.
And, and that's the other thing is what I will give him. You do need to maintain positivity and not be negative towards your other people. That includes starting drama, back-talking, all of that other stuff that comes with, negativity. Negativity doesn't just mean being a shithead. It also means being a pot stirrer, being manipulative and shit like that. I think that if you're able to demonstrate that positive attitude, then you stand to go a lot further into industry. And I also think it is the mark of a true leader. There are times where being negative will totally backfire, and I'll give you an example. I'm just making this example up. You have to work without any leadership there. All the cooks are there, but there is no leadership. There is no cook lead, production lead, whatever you want to call them, sous chef, whatever. The GM's gone, the exec is off. Shit hits the fan. It's a Monday night. You were busier than you expected to be. What the fuck? There are people out there that are vindictive about it. The cook lead called in, the sous chef called in, whatever the case is, and you feel upset about that. You want to teach them a lesson of some kind of passive-aggressive lesson. So you're kind of okay with everything falling apart. 45-minute ticket times, running out of shit, everything's disorganized. In your mind, you're thinking to yourself, look, see how this other cook lead let things fall apart by not being here? See, he's not demonstrating leadership because he's not here. Well, when I walk in as the executive chef and I see that, I don't think that at all. I think, wow, nobody stepped up. The line is shit. Everything fell apart. I guess I can't trust anybody here to be a leader. You guys had your shot. And granted, the restaurant should always be staffed, but that is not how real life works. A lot of times we're short-staffed. there are plenty of times where the sous chef might walk out, or you have to fire the kitchen lead because they came into work drunk. You have to be able to demonstrate these leadership qualities when no one is watching you, and you have to be able to step up to the plate when it's your turn. Otherwise, leadership is going to look elsewhere for somebody else. They might hire somebody to come in, realizing that you can't handle the line.
My fifth and final trait is going to be curiosity. Always wanting to learn, always pursuing knowledge. Successful cooks go out of the way to learn new things. They try to achieve mastery. That's something you should be striving for. Perfection in everything that you do. Being average is not good enough. It's just not. So hold the bar high for yourself. And you know what? Here's the thing. You are lucky. You work in an industry where there's so much to learn, and there's so many different people that you can go for to get education and advice. And there's so many videos and tutorials out there to teach you new things. So be thirsty for knowledge.
And I also believe that everybody watching this video and everybody going over to his channel later to watch more of his content are naturally curious. And I agree with pretty much every single tip in here. I might have little caveats here and there, but so far I've agreed with everything. I would just put a different spin on it, or it's a different version of something that I've been saying. So my version of this is always be willing to learn. I have been in this industry. I started cooking when I was 19. I am 37 years old. I'll be 38 this year. That's a long time to cook. I don't ever act like I know everything, because there is plenty of stuff I don't know. You know, it's really easy to get the Dunning-Krueger effect. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's pretty insane. I'll leave a link to an article down in the description along with his channel and stuff like that so you could read up on it. It's really fascinating stuff. If you always take the approach of, well, maybe I don't know the best way, show me. And if they show you a way that's inferior, then you can be like, okay, well, I know how to do this a better way. And then it's just a matter of confidence. But a lot of times there's going to be things that you don't know how to do that somebody else can do better. You know, I thought I knew how to make corn tortillas. I went over to one of those like really old Mexican grandma house, like first generation immigrant, and she had it was like pork chili corn tortillas, and I can't eat any kind of corn tortillas now because of how good that was. But had I not encountered that person, I would have gone on thinking like, oh, just masa harina and flour, and you just form them and cook them, and it's really easy. You know, no, it's not like that at all. There's always somebody out there that knows more than you, even somebody with less experience, even the new guy that started a week ago. He might have experience in something that you've never even encountered before. So always keep learning.
Now, when you take all 5 of these traits and you put them together, that's a successful line cook. Hell, that's a successful employee, period. People that have these 5 traits are going to go so far in their life. They're going to go achieve amazing things, and you need to be in those ranks. You need to be one of those people that's going out of their way to be successful. Every single day, we're going to push.
This was an overall positive review. I do recommend his channel and checking him out. I have reviewed other videos before and didn't necessarily agree with him all that much. One of them is over here. If you want to check that out. My next video is going to be on something called the 3 Ps, so stay tuned for that. It's about problem solving. I hope you like his content. I hope you like my content. Make sure to like and subscribe to both of our channels. Let me know what you think your tips are for being a successful line cook. Do you agree or disagree with any of the things that were said by either of us? Let me know. You guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you next time. Peace.